Hello, welcome to Follow Everton. I've got my good friend Amy with me today to talk about the latest Everton news, and I also have Abby Ray after Ray here with me. I'm only joking, but I've got a new cat. It's got blue eyes. Just show the crowd.
She's lovely. Oh, thank you.
Thought that'll cheer everyone up. So, Amy, how are you doing?
Much better now that everything is over until, today started. But not as stressed. How are you?
Well, we've had a miserable 9 months, haven't we? It's hard. It's hard to not let Everton and the performances affect your mental health. It really did make everyone feel miserable, no matter what you were doing in your life. When bring that back, someone's got to crop that. Someone's got to crop that and replay it. No matter what's going on in your life, when Everton are doing badly, it's hard to be happy, isn't it? It really is, because you totally get engrossed in it. And I really thought we were down for large parts of this season. The style of football, abysmal. The attitude and the noise, as Daesh calls around the club, pretty horrible as well. And I've got to be honest, I'm so glad it's over. This is my favourite time of the year when Everton aren't playing.
It was horrible, wasn't it? That I think the three standouts for me was Wolves, Southampton, Fulham at home. All three of them, where I was like, "This is it." Even on the Sunday morning when everyone was out and we were all trying to be as Everton pro as possible. Obviously, you've all seen the photos of us shutting down County Road. Like, it was brilliant to be a part of that, but you just couldn't escape this sick feeling. The amount of times I cried during that 90 minutes was awful. I hope the poor fella who sat next to me in the park end isn't worried about me, like, because he really thought I was on the edge at some point.
Yeah, that Saturday just gone was the least enjoyable game of football ever. And when Leicester scored, I've got to be honest, Amy, I was numb. There was an
I
acceptance
went to
within
the
me.
toilet, and as I'm coming out the toilet, big screens there in the concourse in it, and I watched it go in, and I was like on my knees, like it was awful. And I sat back down, and everyone was like, "What's up, love?" And I was like, "Leicester's just scored," and started crying my eyes out. And they were all like, "Oh my god, worst person to spread the news ever." I'm literally bereft.
Apparently, Stevie was sat in the top balcony with my dad, and or I'm not sure. I think they were in the main stand actually, and they had the game on their phone, watching it on Sky Go the entire match. So it was like Everton, they're at the Everton game, they're watching Leicester. But it was demoralising. 35 minutes to go, we were down. I thought we were done. I was numb. I wasn't even angry. I wasn't even sad. I was kind of just like flat feeling. This is acceptance. Obviously, we got over the line. The world-class goal. I think we would have found another way of scoring eventually. I think as the game went on, I felt there was only one team really going to win it. At full time, I've got to be honest, I wasn't impressed with people going on the pitch because I didn't feel like this was a celebration. I felt flat, even though we'd stayed up. There was kind of like a shock factor in the ground at full time, as if, certainly the Park End where we were sat, it was kind of like, okay, I didn't even know the game had finished. I was just like, oh, have we stayed up?
It was the initial couple of seconds, minute or two afterwards, where we was all like relieved. We had the cheering moment, but then it was kind of, it was the whole stadium singing "Sack the Board" together that really showed what it was for all of us that season. We weren't impressed. We weren't necessarily happy. We were just glad to have come through it again. But the people that ran on the pitch just did it for a photo moment. I seen people on there with the kids, and I thought, I can understand that. It's your child. At the end of the day, if your child wants to go and do that, what's really stopping you? Fair enough. But grown adults on there just for the sake of getting a picture for Twitter or for Instagram or for whatever it was a bit, it didn't sit right with me because it wasn't about celebration. But whatever, like, at the end of the day, it was 5 minutes of their time. It wasn't affecting me at all. I wasn't expecting the players to come out and celebrate anyway, because it was nothing to celebrate. So they didn't really take anything from me. I just personally chose not to do it.
I wouldn't class it as a celebration. And I think I can understand the guys who went on the pitch it was a release of emotion, a release of the tension and the stress of having to support Liverpool and Newcastle and every team Leicester are playing and every team Leeds are playing and every team that the others in the relegation battle are playing and knowing who to. It was intolerable and insufferable for months. Don't get me wrong, this has been like hell. Supporting Everton has been like hell. So I can understand the release of emotion and the relief of going on the pitch. Personally, I was a bit disappointed because I would have preferred the players to have come out instead, held their hands up and kind of said, we're sorry, but thank you for your support, because it was shit. The season was crap. You've got to remember, only 2 players really turned up in an attacking sense, and that's Decore and Dwight McNeil. The rest of them, they can hang their heads in shame. There was 2 goals from Iwobi. He did play 38 games. Not good enough. Calvert-Lewin, 1 goal. Calvert-Lewin, 2 goals. Neil Maupay, 1 goal. Ellis Sims, 1 goal. Damari Gray, I think he got 5. A couple of them were penalties. It was horrendous. So I think they should have come out and thanked the fans, but also kind of acknowledged that it was bad. And I think coming onto the pitch kind of just killed it. Too much for me. But we're not gonna go too in on people who did that. Each to your own. And if that's how you felt, you wanted to release your emotion, then we respect you for that. I think we've got to say that, haven't we? Because we're running this show. We're glad it's over, but no rest for the wicked. We're straight in with new transfer news. I'm going to quickly go to the comments, and then we're going to get to the cusp of why we're on the stream today. So I'd like to welcome everyone all to the stream. Welcome Eugene, TJ Mid. He's talking about not signing a left back. We'll talk about those sorts of things in a minute. Hiya Mark, Emma, Mr. Blue Skies, Kevin, just asking about the cat. I do still have the other cat. It's downstairs. Nikki saying evening. Andrew saying hello. The Blues is here as well. David Goundry. Tommy is here as well. Stephen Woodside. Mike. Alfie. Thank you. And of course, Mark as well. Nice to see you all. We're still here. And our good friend of the show, Wezzo. Okay, so first foremost, we'll save the Conor Coady, I think, Amy, because I think you...
I'm ready to get in there.
Okay. You want to go straight in on Conor? Okay. So, guys, Conor Coady has been sent back to Wolves. So it was a £4.5 million buy fee for him. I know what Amy's going to say. Before I go to Amy, I'm going to give you my thoughts on this. Conor is an outstanding professional. I think he really bought into Everton Football Club. Absolutely. I don't care whether he supports Liverpool. It was clear his heart was in Everton. Massive respect to him for that and his application. He wasn't bad under Lampard at all. Under Lampard, he was one of the best players in the squad. We were defensively okay. We were just very poor at everything else. And I think that gets highlighted when you're not scoring goals. Other people can't do their jobs properly. I think under Dyche, he had 1 bad game, Aston Villa at home, where he doesn't engage with, I think, Buendia. He should have showed him further down the line, and he loses it. But over the course of his games, Michael Keane made far more mistakes. He looked far more vulnerable. Mason Holgate contributed diddly squat all season, and Ben Godfrey was shocking in every match he played. The only time I could give Ben any credit was Man City away, and Haaland still got the better of him, I think, and scored. Tarkowski's the only centre-back who's been remotely consistent, apart from Yerry Mina in these last few weeks, and I would be asking Yerry Mina to stay, because I think he's the best of a bad bunch. However, if Conor Coady was the option, and someone said to me, you can have Conor Coady, Michael Keane, Mason Holgate, or Ben Godfrey, I would pick Conor Coady every single day of the week and say, look, if he was happy to say, are you only going to play 10 to 15 games a season? You're going to play when we play 5 at the back, but you're going to chip in and you're going to be part of the squad. Are you comfortable doing that? Now, I personally think that he would prefer to go and play football at the end of the day. At 30 years of age, he's going to want to go and play games. That's why he left Wolves. I expect he'll go to someone like Sheffield United or Luton Town, maybe Sheffield United, and go on and do reasonably well. If it was a choice for me between him and some of the others, I would pick Conor Coady. $4.5 million, question marks over the fee. I think we could probably get him for 1 million or less. I think that Wolves would let him go. And I think if he said, I'm happy to go to Everton, I'm happy being a pit part player, third choice or whatever, or their specialist 5 at the back man, but really as a bit part centre back, and I think he can play in a 4 with the right system. Then if he wanted to make that happen, the deal would be made happen at 1 million or whatever. He would be allowed to go. Okay. So I think there is an element of Conor not wanting to stay because he wants to play. And I also think there's an element that we don't think he suits the system moving forward. You would hope by not activating the £4.5 million release clause, it doesn't mean Keane, Godfrey, and Holgate are being promoted. You hope that that is something we can accept because it's okay. We're not bringing Conor in because we have a grand plan. We're bringing in a top quality left-sided centre half with a bit of pace who can play out from the back like Conor, but has a bit more of the athletic qualities you need. That's fallen on me again. Not, yeah, I don't know why, but that could be Jared Branthwaite. It might not be, but I would accept that a lot more if we go on to sign a first choice player, which Conor probably would not be. So that's my thoughts on it. Amy, I know you're very emotional about this. We've got a connection there. Tell us about why you're upset and how you feel. Let's look at the emotional side of it and the footballing side of it and get your thoughts.
I just think, obviously, emotionally, he's one of mine. He's one of my own. Like, it's always nice to see a bit of St. Helens representation in the sporting world. It's lovely. But, like, I know we don't sign people because we're brilliant people and he's a lovely man, and that was after the issue we had with Lampard, and I get that. But do you know, like, how City have just done Scott Carson for another year because he's brilliant in the dressing room?
Yeah.
For £4.5 million in today's footballing money, that is pennies. I am not going to sit here and say that that is too much for a player who's going to bring a lot to the dressing room, a lot to the training ground, probably a lot to our younger kids as well.
Yeah.
He's
a role model.
Play in a back four. I don't understand this with everyone saying he can't. I understand he's not done it for most of his career. But our defensive statistics, with him in, we've all lauded him for it. When Dyche was putting Keane in, Sky Sports were lauding him for it. That was in a back four. He can do it and he will do it. And that's the difference. That's what I am looking for now. I'm looking for players that will do it because they know they need to, because they want to do it. Michael Keane couldn't give two... I'm trying to think of a better word.
No, I think Keane does care. I just don't think he's quite good enough.
I think he's... I'm sorry. I think he's absolutely terrible. I think if Luton Town come and ask for him tomorrow, he'd do the exact same there. He'd do the same at Burnley. He'd do the same at United. I think he's... I have too many horrible things to say about a person I don't know, so I'm going to be careful.
There's a difference between a bad attitude and bad application. I think Keane is a bad application. I don't think there's an attitude.
It comes across like he's got a bad attitude, and I just don't really care for him at all, to be honest. And I like being able to care for my squad. I like being able to want the name on the back of my top and stuff like that. But
you don't want any of them on the back of your top, love.
No. Coady, out of, like you mentioned before, we've not got Branthwaite back yet. So let's not put him into the equation right now. He's not part of the Everton squad right now. We've got Taki, who is our ultimate first starter, always goes in there. Then Ben Godfrey, who can be decent, but the only season he was really brilliant was under Carlo Ancelotti. So let's call that an anomaly. If I was in my GCSE science class, we would be circling that one as the anomaly season.
He was a mildly effective left back under Carlo.
Under Carlo, he was. That first season, under He Who Must Not Be Named, he was all right. Under the rest of him, after he got COVID, bless him, and got this long COVID, his fitness went downhill. He was all right at City away, but he was nothing special, just because we've got a few gifts of him rattling Haaland. Haaland's still a kid. At the end of the day, he's going to get a bit rattled when he's not doing as well as he's used to, but he was still brilliant. Then we've got Michael Keane, who doesn't even come into the equation for me. Apart from his goal against Spurs, where I promised I'd never slag him off again, he's done nothing at all.
He gave away a penalty in that game and shredded at Leicester and been at fault for a lot of the goals. Positionally,
he's just awful. He is. I've noticed that we're talking about Harry Maguire in the comments earlier. He's just a lesser paid Harry Maguire. Like, he's just... Even if he is a nice fella and someone can convince me that he's bothered, he's still an absolutely bang average, if not dreadful, footballer.
So what you're saying
is average to above average in comparison to the squad we have now. If we had a wonder squad full of absolutely brilliant players, a back four full of Tarkowskis and Branthwaites, he wouldn't come into the equation, but we don't. No one, look at January, no one wanted to come to us for a reason. You've got to wonder what those reasons are. We were skint, but we're still skint now. And how much money are we going to have, really, to spend this transfer window? And there's someone on a plate there for £4.5 million.
If we've got money to spend, I can completely accept Conor Coady leaving and Yerry Mina leaving. I think defensively we're okay. I'd love an attacking left back who can actually get up and do something, and that would be my priority. If someone said you can keep Conor Coady, Tarkowski, and Yerry Mina and all of them, we're going to get rid of Holgate and Keane, and we're going to bring in a left back who can run, I would be happy with that. I'd
How
say
much
we
money
lack
do
a
you
little
think
bit
we
of
can get
pace.
for Keane and Holgate, really?
Nominal.
Between the two
Maybe
of them, about 10 mil.
3 or 4 million maximum. But the point I'm making is we would lack a little bit of speed. It would be a slow defense. But when you're squeezed up and everyone's quite close together and quite compact, I think you can get away with that as long as you're pressing from the front to stop the balls and behind and all that sort of stuff. So there's a tactical side of that where you can mitigate it.
Because I don't think looking for me centre halves to be able to chase bloody.
I know, but if you look at teams like Newcastle,
to be solid.
The centre halves
on the very back line. That's what their job is, really. If our midfielders can be competent enough to assist them, right now, if we're rebuilding, surely you go with what you can get and look at our issues further upfield, i.e. the striker we were promised.
Well, as I say, if we kept this defence and we improved the attacking options out wide and up front and a left back, we'd have a functional team. I don't think we'd be anywhere near relegation next season. But the fact is, we've lost Mina, and we've lost Coady. So I would say, if we've got money to spend, Amy, if we've got money to spend, it's fine losing Coady and Mina as long as it's spent on a better player.
Yeah, I just think.
But we don't know that. We're assuming that we're going to be
done, even as a rotation option, maybe. But maybe we could send him back to Wolves and get him for a lot cheaper than 4.5 million. He's still 30 at the end of the day. That's practically retirement age for footballers. Like, he's practically done for. We say with our 35-year-old right back, he will be 35 next season, signing a new extra year. But like we do have leaders in the squad. Obviously, we've got Tarky, we've got Pickford, we've got Coleman. So in the grand scheme of things, is it the worst thing that could have happened? Probably not, but that depends on how the rest of the transfer window goes. If we can get a decent striker in and a decent left back in, then I probably will concede my issues and have Godfrey and Keane as the rotary options, because I don't see Dicey getting rid of Michael Keane at all. So I think it's Holgate that's going to go out of that back four, probably. Jared Branthwaite can play across the whole back line as well. He can play left, both centres and right. He's better in the centre, but he can play on the wings as well.
That's good to know. Thank you for that. Welcome. I think if there's a grand plan and we're going to sign a first choice centre back, or if Branthwaite's this top defender that can replace Yerry Mina, I've got no objection with Mina and Coady going. I think if we're skint, we absolutely should have offered Mina another deal. Coady brought him in on the cheap, got rid of Holgate, and prioritised throwing every penny we've got at a centre forward and a left or right winger.
Wages are ridiculous.
£125,000 a week.
Yeah, Coady was he was on about 80, I think, 80 to 100, but he's not on 100k a week at all, but 80 in today's climate of what football players get paid. And Coady probably would, coming out now towards the end of his career, have took about 75, I reckon, but Mina would not have took any less than what he's on. So that's just really, it's a sad way to let him go on that, obviously, but injury prone, on a hell of a lot of money. If he was starting every week and doing a Tarky and playing every minute of the season, then whatever you want.
But if we'd have offered him a deal which is pay if you're fit, i.e. not pay as you play. If you're on the bench and you're medically fit, you get paid. If we could have incentivized it like that and offered him another 1 year, I would have done that. I would have kept Mina. I would have probably kept Coady. Unless, as I say, you've got a centre-back coming in who's top level, or Branthwaite is that standard. The fact is, I don't trust any of them to bring in a decent enough centre-half to replace both of them. I don't trust them to actually sell those players. And I don't know whether Branthwaite is a Premier League player yet. So this is the issue we've got. And I think it creates more conundrums. Let's go to the comments and see what people are thinking about the Conor Coady situation before we move on. I think Amy's made her position quite clear. She'd like to have seen him stay as a rotational player as a minimum, because his attitude is good and he's a decent centre half. But Amy can accept it, like myself. If there's a grand plan in place, we may revisit this at the end of August and have a lot to say about this conversation. But surely they can't mess it up this time. We're not going to progress playing low block all season. That's Mr. Blue Skies, I think, in reference. I don't think we played low block, Mr. Blue Skies. I think we played we played a higher line, and we were very compact and we pressed, and that's what we tried to do. We weren't sitting on the edge in our 18-yard box the whole match, every match. We really weren't. But I think he's looking. Hopefully, Dyche has got a plan and knows what he wants. Athletic, strong players, centre back, left back, right wing, and striker. They're the priorities if everyone else stays. Not too much to ask. Nicky's saying Coady might have said he wanted more game time. We're going to need sneaky and try and get him cheaper. I wouldn't be surprised, Nicky, if we go for the second option there. 4.5 million's overpriced, considering his wages. And his wages are high because at Wolves he peaked as captain. They offered him the high wages, but I think there's certainly a market there, an opportunity to get him potentially on a free transfer. Kevin is saying he's got a good attitude, but on the wrong side of 30. But I think age is just a number. If I'm honest with you,
especially with saying defenders, really. I think as long as you're not asking for like Coleman, bless him, probably couldn't play wing back as well as Patterson could now, but can he still defend? Of course he can.
Speed of your brain is just as important as speed of your body. I think
Peter's just brought my heart even more with that statement. Now I'm liking him to Jags, and now I'm going to go and cry when we're done.
What statement?
Coady reminded him of Jagielka, not the quickest, but a solid leader. And now I'm sad because I love Jags as well. He's still playing at 40 as well.
He's coming back. The Blues is saying that Keane set up the meaner goals at Wolves. Yeah, he did, to be fair, mate. He's done some stuff, but he's a better striker than he is a centre-half. No, listen, he's good at winning the aerial battles, but Keane gets done defensively in 1v1 situations and when he has to rely on his pace.
It was a scramble, that goal, though. I'm not thinking Michael Keane was like, right, I'm planning this right now. This is exactly where this ball's going. I think he was like, just get it in there and see what happens rather than properly formulating it.
I think he's done some good things, Keane. But I think positionally, he's all over the place at times. And 1v1, he really struggles and against pace. So I like him as a person, but I'm a bit sick of him being at Everton Football Club. If Tarkowski was to get an injury or suspension next season, who can we look for? Experience. Well, Stu, this is what we have to do in the market. Mark is saying very easy to fixate on the feet for Coady, but Dyche said he wants pacey players brought in. Okay, well, there you go. On that basis, Mikalenko's got to go. And half of them have got to go because there's a lot of slow players in that team. Even Iwobi is not quick. He couldn't outpace Manan, and she's 95. Nicky's saying, I hope Holgate and Keane are leaving. Keane is not going anywhere, Nicky, my love. No way. Dave is saying Michael Keane has stolen a living as a footballer his whole career. He's got more than one England cap as well. The Blues are saying Coady is a cheerleader. People think Onana is. He doesn't offer much else apart from that. Thank you, the Blues. Mark saying, Coady doesn't fit that mold. We have a plan and we need to stick with it. Signing Coady would have meant deviating on that plan straight away. Well, let's see if this plan comes to fruition. And Kevin saying Coady was on 100 grand a week. No wonder he wanted to join Everton Football Club. And Andy Mabs is saying even 80k is too much.
He is right, but in today's current market of player wages, I couldn't even tell you what the average is for rotationary players. So on my footy manager the other day, someone was like, Jordan Pickford asked me for 250 grand. I was like, I'm sorry, Jordan, have you seen our wage budget? Like, that's got to be something close to what people are asking for nowadays. It's absolutely ridiculous.
I think you've got to. I don't object paying rotational players a lot if it's kind of like to keep them sweet so that they can still be motivated to come in and do their job on a rotational basis. I think, but I don't know. I don't know enough about it. Amy, you're the football manager expert. Mike is saying there's no case for Mina, and the Blues
are saying that really in it, like with how it's how injury prone he is, how unreliable he is, that makes it no case for him with the amount of wages we pay him. Like, he could have been brilliant if he could stay fit.
The Blues are saying Jags was rapid. He was. Him and Distan could defend on the halfway line, and they both had enough pace, and they could defend 1v1. I'm not sure we've got any defenders with any pace who can defend 1v1, and that's what we need. We thought it was Godfrey, but he's not a centre-half, and he's not found his place at Everton, I don't think. Lots of comments coming in. People having a bit of a debate with themselves. If you're new here, please subscribe, of course. If you're not new here, and if you are anyway, like the video, click the like button right now on YouTube. And, of course, turn the notification button on. for all our latest videos. Someone's asked where Chris is. Chris is doing something in America where he's visiting 30, I think it's NFL stadiums in 30 days.
No, baseball.
Baseball stadiums. Getting mixed up. 30 base. I thought you didn't like baseball. 30
Every American loves baseball, don't they? I've watched The Simpsons.
30 baseball stadiums in 30 days. So that's where he is. He's not going to be on any streams till he's completed that. I do apologize. But we have Amy and myself who'll keep you entertained, and several other great people when
Everybody
they can be bothered to join the stream. Yeah, Chris is very popular because he's not in his bedroom.
What do you want me to do?
Bless you.
Start renting out a studio, Ryan.
I'm only messing, but I do need to get you another microphone and take that one back. One that works with your phone. Well, your picture's fine and your connection's great, which is the main thing. So people like that, that's the main thing. Okay, Amy, let's move on from Conor Coady for now. Ruben Vinagre, the left back Everton sign, he didn't really have much of a chance, did he? How bad must he be if he couldn't get a single game ahead of Vitaly Mykolenko, who for us looks like a centre half version of a centre half playing at left back at times?
You leave my Mickle alone. But honestly, like that one game, what was it? Was it West Ham or Liverpool at home? And he played like 25 minutes and he looked pretty quick. He looked like he kind of knew what he was doing. So not knew what he was doing, but like he could run, and like he didn't do anything where I was like, he's absolutely awful. So
I think he was that bad that even in that.
But I have nothing to say about him.
Even in that final game of the season, if he'd have been fit, I don't think he'd have played. No. He made 2 Premier League appearances. He was good in pre-season. He crossed it to Dwight McNeil to head in, I think, in pre-season. Yeah. And he's clearly an attacking left wing back. It was a shame, but it was a cheap signing. He was at Wolves. It's an odd one, really. You know, he's 24. He's still young, but he was at Wolves, made 17 appearances, 15 appearances the second season, backup left back. Then the third season, he only made 2 appearances before going to Greece, which says what his standard was. He only played twice in Greece. Then he went to Portugal, played 20 times. Then he went to Sporting, played 12 times, and came to Everton. So his career's not really got off the ground. And it was a strange sign. For me, it's lazy transfer business from Kevin Thelwell.
Yeah, it was just looking for a speedy backup, wasn't it, really? And that was what we came up with, I think. But
utter dross recruitment. Good luck to him. But, you know, Kevin Thelwell is leaving a lot to be desired at the moment, if I'm honest with you. And I want to see what he's about this summer.
I think, let's be honest, you take Vinagre and Mope out the equation, everybody else to be brought in has been absolutely fine, if not decent. I have, in his first year, we know how the club's run. We've heard Marcel Brands' interview about how it's not necessarily all on the director of football to make these decisions.
How could we go into a Premier League season with Neil Maupay as a striker, knowing Calvert-Lewin had missed most of the previous season? To me, it was amateur. It was bad recruitment, and leave us with the least flair of any Premier League team. We have no flair at all. I remember even under Moyes, when we were workmanlike, we still had flair. We still had a sprinkle of class. Pina, Arteta, Osman, we still had flair. We haven't got anyone with any flair. I want to see this summer a little bit of extra quality on the wings and up front, and I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, as you say, Amy. I'm willing to,
do that. He's not been here long enough. We'll see what happens.
Moving on from Ruben, then, all the best, Ruben. We have the news that Niels Nkounkou, the left back, who he struggled at Cardiff, Amy, and he ended up at Saint Etienne in France, the second division. And the talk is now that he is signed for 2 million euros and gone there on a permanent deal. And they're actually apparently going to loan him out again or sell him on for more money. He got 6 goals in 19 appearances.
I just want to note that I've seen before on Twitter people saying we paid £1.5 million for him, so we're making profit. We are not making profit. There is a conversion rate. We've sold him for what we brought him in for. So, like, again, brilliant transfers from Everton. But as a rotational left back who was already on our wage book, so didn't need any more money off us or shouldn't have been asking for any more money, it probably would have been better to try and keep hold of him for a year. or at least until January. And if it wasn't working, loan him out to sell him then, fair enough. But he might have been all right, but is he Premier League standard just because he's doing well in France's second division? I don't really think so. Bless him. I again have no issues with him staying or going, really, so long as we can prove that, again, if we're getting rid of left backs, because that's 2 out the window when we're saying we need 1 anyway, then we need to get 1 in. Well, we did get multiple loan fees for him, we are very right, but in terms of actually buying him and selling him for extra money, we've not, because them loan fees have gone into paying other people's wages, such as Conor Coady and Vinagre and Michael Keane, Decore and Mina, who were on higher wages, Pickford, who signed a new contract, who's gone on higher wages. So that's what loan fees go on to, really. So we've not really made any money off him.
No, and I'm just looking at his stats and his career, and he's made a couple of appearances for the France under-21s this season. So he's clearly at a level. I think they've got a plethora of options probably at left back. It's France. It's a major superpower nation. And when I've seen him, he's kind of patrolled the whole flank. So he's been up and down that left wing, delivering a good cross. Positionally, he was dross. I remember him at Newcastle away. He didn't know where to be defensively. And I wonder whether he was a left winger. But it's annoying. Another one. And actually, whether he has gone for a fee or not, I'm not sure, Amy, because it said that when we signed him in July 2020, that he signed a 3-year deal. And I can't recall
him re-signing.
And re-signing another contract. So
brilliant.
It annoys me that
I've seen from people saying it was always going to be €2 million that he was going to them for, and they were going to immediately shift him on and make money off the €2 million. So
exactly. Well, that would be annoying. What frustrates me is, we had Luca Dean and we had Leighton Baines and we had Anthony Robinson all at the club at the same time, and now we're left with Vitaly Mykolenko. And I know you've got respect for him, Amy, but he's not good enough. He's not good enough. I'm sorry. And if Everton want to progress as a club, you've got to get fullbacks that look more comfortable on the ball, but can get back and defend as well.
Solid left back, and Miko is going to be our backup, really. I suppose. But
if we've got any aspirations of doing anything, so Davey Weston saying it was another, it extended it. In terms of players coming back from loan, Amy, you've got Michael. Dele Alli, Jean-Philippe Gbamin, who's desperate to leave his Everton nightmare.
He can go.
Cheeky bastard.
I'm desperate to leave his nightmare, don't worry about it.
He's had £100,000 a week for the privilege of doing nothing. I remember he made his debut against Palace, looked woefully unfit, and I tweeted that this new signing looks awful. And Phil McNulty, the chief writer of the BBC, had quote tweeted me and saying, give it a rest, he'd only been here 5 minutes. Well, I've had the last laugh because I called him out straight away. I knew he was going to be shit, and you know what? He was crap. Even when fit, he was like
that ring light's got more in it than Gbamin has in him.
He was like a rabbit in the headlights, and I believe his loans haven't been too spectacular as well. So that's one. You hope Gbamin's going to be off, and Dele Alli will be off.
We'll spend that $4.5 million paying him off. See you later, mate. Get $100,000.
So amateur. One player that you may want to bring back is Andre Gomes. He had a good season at Lille, looked effective as a 6. I wonder whether Dyche will take a look at him in pre-season, but I think if there's a fee there because of his massive wages, if we can get maybe 4 or 5 million on a permanent deal for Andre Gomes, I think that would be good business for us and allow us to
just get rid of it, please.
Why is it falling? It never used to fall.
Oh, wow. Incredibly professional streaming from both me and Ryan. You can still see my fan and everything.
We haven't got Toffee TV's budget, unfortunately, because it's free to view. What I would say, I think we've covered the ins and outs there. We've been linked with Tabby Abraham today. That's someone I'd be quite keen to bring in. We'll bring you more transfer news as and when. But before I let you go, Amy, I want to touch on the news. This is Paulie-esque. Listen, I don't know him personally, and I don't know how reliable he is, but he's kind of like a Marmite figure in the Everton community. And he says that Everton, Farhad Moshiri is relinquishing control because he's releasing shares, and he's going to become a minority shareholder, and the new investor is going to be the majority shareholder, and that new investor is going to be MSP. They are going to bring in a new chair and CEO. The way I see it is for Moshiri himself, a percentage of a business that's successful is better than 100% of an unsuccessful business. But from a fan perspective, I don't know who the hell MSP are.
They own McLaren Racing is one of their big things. I chose
Really?
McLaren as my team after I watched that Drive to Survive on Netflix. Not a clue what goes in an F1, but I was like, I'll take McLaren. So it was a sign. They own all sorts. They are American. We love you, Chris, but we've seen the Glazers. We've seen whatever they're called, FSG.
McLaren are
like
owned by McLaren Group.
Yeah, MSP are part of the McLaren Group.
You mean they've got shares in it?
Listen, do I look like the Esk? I don't know what that means. I just know that there you go.
What is MSP short for? My small penis.
Well, you tell me. But something sporting partners.
Very bizarre.
MSP
Sports Capital.
It's gonna we're gonna be called the MSP Sports Arena, by the way.
MSP
That's what Brandon Moore's getting called.
Is it really? MSP Sports Capital to charge interest on loan.
Money.
Well, we've got the exclusivity agreement with them, haven't we? So
yeah, so I think they're gonna come in and take a 50 or something that'll get Ken right out of his 1%. Thank you. Whatever eternal being we all pray to or whatever. DBB is gonna go. She's gonna go and do some charity stuff and be the best charitable person in the world again. Brilliant. Hopefully that gives Sharpie room to step down, because as soon as Sharpie steps down, he will be welcome back at Goodison Park. I know he will. I speak to so many people from my dad's generation and older who are really upset by this whole situation of Sharp out, because they adore him. I obviously never saw the man play in my life.
They omitted his name from his song, and we love our
we love our expletive. But he will be welcome back. It's people my age, people our age who haven't watched him play that don't really have that link to him, that don't really care for him right now. But he can do. Like, I'm not bothered as long as he steps down and says, that wasn't for me. I'm very sorry. I didn't really have much movement with my job anyway. Hi, I'm back. And we'll be like, hi, Sharpie. And that'll be fine. But yeah, MSP takes, what does Moshiri own right now? Majority shareholder, but he doesn't own the full 50, does he? Isn't it like 49%?
Moshiri, he's got like 99% of the shares.
Oh yeah, 98%, Annie. And then Ken Wright's got 1, and then there's all them other people that have like 0.001% shares and that. But if they take the 49 or the 50 off him, he then goes down to one of the minority shareholders, and MSP are the majority shareholders then. And I'm no business lady, but that sounds to me like MSP have more of a running of the gaff, with Moshiri kind of in the side throwing his hat in the ring. You know, like on Suits, when all the partners get 1 vote. And if you're a senior partner, you get listened to more than a junior partner. Moshiri's going to be a junior partner and they're going to be senior partners, is how I take it.
I'm just doing a little bit of due diligence here. It's safe to say I don't know anything about these people, but we've been linked with them persistently for a while. And the main guy here is Jamshid Najafi. He's Iranian American, so that doesn't surprise me, does it? Another Iranian. So it's probably someone he knew.
They're probably pretty friendly. Well, that's awful. That we shouldn't say that. I don't know every person from England, but like,
wealthy communities, wealthy circles, maybe.
Customs and I like the shopping mall in Iran, don't you? Because they know it together, so that's nice. They have things to talk about over tea that everyone's paying for with their season tickets, so that's lovely. I'm glad. I don't know who the rest of them are. I honestly couldn't tell you. I've never heard of these people before in my life.
Well, they're from New York, so I'm just
either. So
based in New York. So I'm just seeing if there's any connection to the mafia or Sinatra or
just
something.
In case.
Just interesting.
Yet again.
Just interesting, isn't it? I mean, there's going to be more about that. I think ultimately anything at this stage that promotes change, because without any personal agenda to anyone there, I have to be the most neutral here. You can have your opinion. But without any personal agenda to anyone, we need change because we can't go on like this. I'm not going through another year of that. I'm sorry.
We're absolutely skint, and it's like, I'm not saying we want Man City. We do want Man City level money, but I'm not saying we do. I know we don't have that much money in the bank, but like, for example, Chelsea. Todd Bowley has been so involved this season, and he's stepped back now and he said, like, I'm going to leave that to the people who understand because I've fudged this up. What's his name? Sheikh Mansour. Sheikh Mansour just goes, AR Pep, AR City, have some of this. There's a bit more cash. Buy who you want, but make sure it makes me some money. As well. Yeah, so Pep and that, like, let's ignore all the accusations and if they're making fake companies to put more money into them or whatever. But they are a profitable team. So he goes, nice one, Mr. Mansour. AR, here's some more back. Oh, and by the way, there's a Champions League trophy, hopefully next week. And then that's it. Sheikh Mansour's made up. He's got cash in his pocket. He's throwing more at him. And it's happening because he's allowing football-minded people to run a football club. Moshiri's letting Bill Kenwright, who's not going to Scooby-Doo. Denise Barrett-Baxendale, who has less of a Scooby-Doo. Graham Sharp, bless him, who it got welcomed in because he was a decent footballer for us. Who's the rest of him? Ingles. Ingles probably doesn't even have a conversation with his wife when she's too busy talking about her granddad. So these people...
No, but Ingles isn't he's not the same person you're thinking about.
Who's the one who's married to... What's her face?
Melanie Prentice is the one you're talking about.
David Prentice, that's her fella. He can't communicate for shit either. Sorry, Steve, he's going to rewatch
his back end. I was there in the Liver buildings doing something at one point, and he just bounced past us, like avoiding everyone. But Amy, you're entitled to have your opinion on these people. I'm not going to comment on the individuals, but all I'm going to say is that I'd like change at the top in terms of the people running the club. CEO, chairman, recruitment, and owners. To be honest, we need fresh. I'm not dealing with this anymore. I've absolutely had enough, and I think everyone would agree.
Hopefully, as well, MSP are looking at the.
Hopefully, they know what they're doing.
The noise, as Taishi says, and they know what they're getting into, and they are not going to run us into the ground even more. That's all I ask for him. I just ask that you
if Farhad Moshiri's picked them
and help us grow. That's all I want.
If Moshiri has picked them, I would say the statistical chance is that they're going to be worse.
My mate said that to me before, and I was like, please don't speak like this. Just let me have my moment.
And actually, I just want to say that Everton were quite good when Bill Kenwright was in charge and not these other people.
My dad said this. He was like, we were fine. He just didn't have the money. And then he went and got Moshiri, and that wasn't
when it's gone
good
down.
Bill idea. But what was his name? The dude before him. I'm too young to remember this. Sorry, everyone. That's the man. My dad was like, you should have seen what it was like then. Lee was like, we were begging for it. And Kenwright come in, and Kenwright was like the pariah. He was the saviour of everything. And I was like, so do you like him? And he was like, well, no.
Because ultimately it's 30 years of failure. Let's have a look. Stu is saying MSP are only after a share of the stadium. I mean, surely there must be people chomping at the bit to invest in Everton now we've stayed up. You know, we're at the lowest value we'll ever be. We've got the new stadium coming. The commercial opportunities are huge. I just want to quickly go over the comments. Robbie's saying even the tea lady is going to get investigated. Mark is saying if MSP come in, we're playing in the McLaren Stadium. That would be quite classy. Get McLaren to sponsor us.
Don't mind me, Mum. Just going to the McLaren Stadium.
Everton, McLaren.
Sporting.
Moshiri shares are going to be down to 50% after taking in the money. That's from Kevin Kraft. David B is laughing at the Sinatra joke. Kenny G, 777 looking at Luton, Leeds and Sheffield United. Kevin says Amy's funny. I know she is. She's very good. The Blues is saying, Mr. Blues, Skies, MSP have got to bring in experts. Yeah, that's the most important thing. You know, you can find anyone with money at that level who's willing to invest, but it's the right owner. I'd like to thank everyone for watching. Be sure to like the video and, of course, subscribe. Amy, have you got any final thoughts on anything you'd like to talk about just before we wrap up?
No, I'm really glad to be going through another year of this awfulness with you all. Hopefully next year is better. And I say that with about as much hope as... I don't want to say what I was going to say. Actually, it was awful, but I have no hope is what I'm trying to say. But
what would be really nice, and would calm some nerves. There's a couple of decent signings in now in the next couple of weeks on the money.
I want João Pedro, Watford. I love him.
He's gone to Brighton.
Brighton? Whoa.
He signed for Brighton, mate.
When? What have I missed?
He's joined Brighton for 30 million.
I have no hope anymore, everyone. I'm sorry. I have nothing nice to say. Doesn't matter.
That bombshell. We'll be back with the latest transfer news as soon as we've got something worth talking about.
It won't be João Pedro, so it's fine.
And it won't be João Pedro.
Boo.
Bye. She's not happy. No one's happy, believe me. Let's get some signings in the bag and get rid of some of these players so we can all start to feel a little bit better.
Hi, Victor Gacores, at Victor Gacores. If you are hearing this, please come to Everton Football Club. He's my only hope.
We will get someone in. We've got plenty of time, and I think we've got some money to spend. And we'll get rid of. I'm optimistic that there will be a lot of outgoings, and I think even Iwobi will move on. I think Damari Gray could go. I think they'll be open to offers for them. Davis is leaving. Mina's left. Cody's left. Holgate hopefully will leave. I think Godfrey will get kept as some sort of utility player. I think there'll be plenty of players.
Bill, and then we can spend that. And
Gordon,
Moise Keane when he comes in June.
Richarlison, they've already had it.
Yeah, it's June now, isn't it? It came in today, didn't it?
No, they sold him for like 3-4 weeks ago, and I've already had the money.
Already in the bank. I'm sure it only got confirmed like at the end of the season when the transfer window opened, because they were fuming about paying us for him, weren't they? Because they were like, he's actually pretty bad now.
We've already got the money from Moise Keane. We've already had the Gordon money.
So in all theory, we should have about 70 mil in the bank there from.
It's all gone down a black hole.
And Keane, or Moshiri's bank account just grew a bit heavier, and USM's happy, and Ken Wright's got a new house. We will.
It's all gone on a black hole, Amy.
Brilliant.
Sorry to say. Thank you for watching. Thanks, Amy.
Bye.